fact that you're actually watching this video suggests that you've completed the module. So congratulations on that. I hope you're now working on the assignment. You may recall that at the beginning of the module I suggested that there was a disadvantage of producing materials for distance learning. That disadvantage is that we produce the materials in advance of you studying the module. So consequently things may change between the putting pen to paper and you listening and watching and taking part in the module. We've tried to address this disadvantage in a number of different ways throughout the module. Partly by offering learning activities which encourage you to reflect upon the module material and to try and apply this material within your own organisation. But we've also started to offer pod points, and in offering the concluding comments to this module I'm going to offer a pod point which looks forward for marketing. The pod point I'm offering is looking at how marketing is moving forward. What are the key issues and key debates that marketing managers need to consider over the next 5 years? It also concludes with a comment asking you to contribute to this pod point. And so I look forward to seeing your ideas through the discussion forums. Before you close the book and you put this module to one side, can I just ask that you go back to the beginning of the module study book and check that you've achieved all the learning outcomes we've set for you. If you have, then can I thank you for studying this module and indeed for selecting this module, and may I wish you luck with your final project. You may have noticed that right at the beginning of the module I suggested that marketers have a fairly schizophrenic existence. That existence is characterised by marketing managers having to both listen to the customer and give voice to the customer within the organisation, whilst also representing the organisation to the customer. But there's also another dimension to this. Marketers are also required to be able to predict the future. To be able to look ahead over the next 6, 12 months, 5 years perhaps, about what challenges the organisation will need to confront. In this pod point, I want to ask quite a simple question. What challenges confront the marketing manager over the next 5 years? Of course, people are going to say it's going to be more competitive. This is usually the opening line to every student essay. We'll probably also get the other classic, which is that globalization is occurring and so competition is of a more global nature. What is perhaps more interesting is what is the nature of this globalizing tendency and with what implications. Within the module study book there are a number of different themes that come forward. Some of the key themes that I want to briefly mention include the changing power base of the consumer. If you have been reading some of Kotler's latest ideas, it is a call for marketing managers to get closer to the customer, to be more consumer-centric. This call has been central to marketing since the 1960s, and it seems to fail to appreciate that the relationship between the organisation and the consumer has radically changed. Consumers are now equally happy to be producers, both in terms of selling the produce on via eBay, but also being knowledgeable about the ideas, the techniques of marketing. With the rise of social networking sites, consumers now control many of the key channels that marketers need to involve themselves within. There are also emerging requirements for the marketer. There's clearly a requirement for marketing managers to be more environmentally aware, but also more politically and socially aware, to identify emerging trends and themes that consumers are bringing forward. This links into a further theme, which is transparency. Consumers have information about the way in which a supply chain is being managed and are more willing to put voice to any concerns they may have. The final theme I want to bring forward is the idea of networks and the ability of the marketing manager to appreciate the value of networks for the operations in their organisation. These networks include both other companies but also other key stakeholders such as governments. A key author in the area of consumer behaviour, John Desmond, famously observed that marketers look at consumers the same way that fishermen look at fish as a means to catch them. But the implications of the increasing consumer power, the increasing in political awareness, have significant ramifications for the marketing manager of tomorrow. These clearly are just a couple of themes. There are far more themes within the module study book. What this pod point is trying to provoke, however, is to encourage you to start thinking about what are the challenges facing the marketing manager of tomorrow. You'll find on your marketing management discussion forum a new thread, which is labelled The Future of Marketing. Please use this thread to identify any of the themes that you think are relevant for marketing managers in your country.